Today, we're going to do something a little different. This isn't just a review, we're actually stepping right into the heart of a really powerful and poignant love story. We're going to explore Tayari Jones's incredible novel, An American Marriage, not just as a story, but as a promise, as a trial, and as a love letter written across an impossible divide.
And this quote? This is our way in. It's from one of our main characters, Celestial. And with this one beautiful, powerful line, Tayari Jones just sets the entire stage. You immediately know this story is deeply personal, it's unflinchingly modern, and it carries the weight of history. It's about a very specific kind of love, fighting for its life against the odds. So before everything gets turned upside down, let's meet Celestial and Roy. They are the picture of the New South. They're educated, ambitious, and just so in love. They're building this beautiful life together in Atlanta, and their world is just filled with art and dreams and this absolute unwavering promise of a future together.
Okay, just for a little bit of context here, the book we're diving into is, of course, An American Marriage. It was published back in 2018. It's this masterpiece of contemporary literary fiction by Tayari Jones, and it really is the canvas for this incredibly human and, frankly, heartbreaking story. And that world, so full of promise, it comes to a sudden, violent stop. A wrongful conviction tears Roy from their home, from Celestial, from their entire life. And that subtitle says it all, doesn't it? Until the world intervened. This is the moment their personal love story is just brutally slammed by a national tragedy. So the whole novel is built around this devastating question. How does a system, one that's so riddled with racial bias, do more than just imprison a person? How does it manage to imprison an entire relationship? It basically turns love into an endurance test, and it starts to change the very people on both sides of those prison bars.
And to really explore this, Jones uses such a brilliant device: letters. A huge part of the story unfolds through the letters sent between Roy, Celestial, and eventually their childhood friend Andre. This gives us this incredibly intimate, totally unfiltered look into their changing hearts and minds as time and distance start to do their terrible work.
So let's start with Roy's perspective, because he is just reeling from the shock. His entire identity is stripped away in an instant. He's no longer Roy, the husband, the ambitious guy on the way up. He's an inmate. And with that new label comes this whole set of impossible expectations for the woman he loves.
This quote, it really gets to the core of how the system works. See, it doesn't just lock Roy up. It puts his entire marriage in a cage of what society expects. It literally weaponizes time against them, demanding that their love stay frozen, completely unchanged, while the world and the people in it just keep moving forward. But while Roy is physically behind bars, Celestial, well, she feels trapped in a totally different way. Her metaphor, a house with the windows nailed shut, it just perfectly captures this feeling of suffocation. She's being pinned down by the duty to wait for a man who is, slowly but surely, becoming a memory.
This is such a powerful look at how a woman's own life gets put on hold. Celestial isn't just a wife. She's an artist, she's a creator, she's a person with her own evolving life. But the system reduces her to a single role, the waiting woman. Her choices, her desires, her own personal growth, it all gets squeezed by the weight of Roy's sentence. And here, Roy hits on the absolutely devastating paradox of their situation. The very letters that are supposed to be their lifeline, the things keeping them connected, they just become proof of how far apart they're drifting. Every word is a reminder of their separate realities, and how Celestial's life out in the free world is changing her, whether she wants it to or not. This is the cruel genius of how the book is structured. Their communication becomes a mirror, right? But it's not showing them how to get back to who they were. It's showing them the new people they are both becoming. Mass incarceration doesn't just steal time, it fundamentally alters who you are, making love one of its main casualties. But this whole tragedy doesn't just affect Roy and Celestial. We have to bring in the third crucial voice, Andre. As Celestial's childhood best friend and a confidant to Roy, he is caught right in the middle of this impossible situation. His words capture the brutal conflict of loyalty that just ripples through their entire community. And what's so important to get here is that the damage isn't just contained to this one couple. The system forces everyone into these impossible moral choices. Do you stay loyal to the past, or do you honor the truth of who people are right now? Every single choice feels like a betrayal, and it fractures friendships and family bonds all along the way.
This final thought from Celestial really gets to the core of their struggle after everything has happened. It's a fight to be seen as more than just a tragedy. It's a fight to define their own love and their own lives on their own terms, outside of the long shadow cast by this monumental injustice.
And that really brings us to the book's ultimate message, right? Healing isn't just about being set free or having your name cleared. It's about the incredibly difficult but necessary work of reclaiming your own story. It demands that we as a society learn to see people not as their worst circumstances, but as the full, complex, and evolving human beings they actually are.
So, what does this powerful story really teach us? Beyond the plot, this novel offers a profound and, I think, universal lesson on the nature of love, especially love that's been put under the immense pressure of time and distance.
So what's the big takeaway for all of us? This story shows us that love isn't some museum piece you can just preserve behind glass. It's not just a memory or a promise made years ago. No, it's a living, breathing thing that needs presence and attention and active connection to actually survive. And that truth, that applies to any of us facing distance in our own lives, for whatever reason.
Okay, with all of that emotional depth and thematic richness in mind, let's turn to our final verdict on this truly remarkable novel.
Look, the novel's strengths are just immense. Jones's use of 3 distinct, totally authentic voices is just masterful. It lets us feel Roy's vulnerability, really understand Celestial's complex inner world, and see the impossible spot Andre's in. And the way she weaponizes time makes this huge, systemic issue feel devastatingly personal.
For its profound thematic depth, its brilliant character work, and its urgent, deeply applicable lessons on the nature of love and injustice, An American Marriage earns a final grade of 8.3 out of 10.
And if this story resonated with you and you're thinking, what do I read next? We highly recommend The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett and Behold the Dreamers by Mbolo Bue. Both of them do a fantastic job of exploring complex relationships against the backdrop of powerful social forces.
We really hope this deep dive has given you a glimpse into the heart of this incredible book. For more explainers on the stories that shape our world, you know what to do. Make sure to follow and subscribe.
We'll leave you with the central question of this unforgettable book. What happens when the love you swore to protect becomes the very thing you must survive? Thanks for joining us.